Microsoft Planner, it can do so much more than what you're probably using it for today. Yes, if you need to store documents and also file email, and you're looking for other tools to do that in, then don't overlook Microsoft Planner because it does provide those capabilities. Not only that, we can do more inside of task management to drive better reporting that you can share with your colleagues and your stakeholders very easily using Planner. So let's take this opportunity to review how best you can manage your next project when it comes to using Planner and check out some capabilities that you may have not seen before that you can use today. But before we move on, here's a quick stat that might interest you. 88% of viewers that watched our last video were not subscribed to our channel, and we would love it if you're part of the 88% to hit the subscribe button. That will help us continue to create great content every single week to turn you into a productivity superstar and learn the greatest tricks that you can use to become more productive with the tools you already have. So let's dive in to Microsoft Planner and see how best you can manage your next project and use all of those exciting capabilities. To get started and create your plan, all we need to do is go to office.com. They'll take you into your landing page for Microsoft 365. Then click on the app launcher to the top left and you'll see all of the apps you have available to you. Now, as you can see, I don't see the planner icon in this list, but not to worry. All we need to do is go down and select explore all of your apps. It'll then take you to a dedicated page that have access to all of your Microsoft 365 apps and services. And here we can see that Microsoft Planner is available to me in the bottom right of this page. Left clicking into Planner takes us into Planner on the web. This has more capability than what you may have seen inside of Microsoft Teams. You can quickly access all of your plans, all of your tasks across those plans and more. But equally, we can easily create ourselves a brand new plan. We can do that by going to the new plan option in the top left. And here we now see an option that you may have not seen before because this is not available inside of Microsoft Teams when you go and create a plan. So what we can do is we can choose an available template to create our plan from. For example, a simple plan to organize some of your activities, giving you a number of buckets and tasks you get started with quickly. But what we're considering today is how best to manage one of your projects inside a planner, so a simple plan simply won't cut it. Instead, let's go to our project management template, and here we can see it's a much more structured way to manage our own project. It has boards and tasks from initiating, planning and executing our project and more. Not forgetting we can customize these templates once we create our plan from them, so it provides full customization for you to manage your own project in the best way. So with that now selected, we can now give your plan a title. So here I'm going to go ahead and type in our project name. With our project name defined, we can now select whether I should attach this plan to an existing group. Because yes, you can use these templates with an existing Microsoft team or group. So if you're already part of a team, you want to create your plan and attach it to one of those from one of these templates, just select your team or group from this drop down to attach it into that team and share that security. But we're not going to be doing that today. Instead, this is going to be a brand new plan with a brand new security group. So here, it's really important to define our security. Is your plan going to be available company-wide without any restrictions in access? Or equally, should it be private and only visible to named people that you and your team bring in to be able to share tasks inside of your plan? And the majority of plans that we see working with customers, they will select a private plan. So here I'm going to leave it as private, ensuring that only named persons have access to tasks moving forward, and that visibility is certainly restricted and it won't be available across the whole organization. Once you've done that, select the Create button and it'll create your new plan from that template inside of Microsoft Planner. And here we go. Just in a couple of seconds, we have a plan that's already been created for us. We have buckets and tasks that have also been created for us as well. So inside of your plan, you're now going to be given a number of buckets and tasks pre-created for you by Microsoft Planner. Now, if you're not happy with these buckets, well, you can actually change them. But the biggest question is, what on earth is a bucket? Do we put liquid or water into it? No, inside a planner, buckets hold all of your tasks, and we see different people approaching buckets in different ways. For example, in my template here, the buckets initiating and planning have been set in a certain type of stage. So the stage of the project for initiating is a bucket, as is planning, allowing us then to create tasks inside of those buckets, providing a visual layout of our project moving forward. But equally, you might want to change these buckets. You can easily do so. Click on the three dot menu next to any of your buckets, select rename. You can overtype the bucket name and apply that into your plan. Equally, to add another bucket, scroll to the right and click on add new bucket. And here you might want an area for financials, because we need to go and check what's going on with our financials in our project. Well, there we go. We have a new bucket available to us. Now, we do see some people using buckets to manage particular people. So yes, you could have buckets for particular team members within your project. Adding tasks beneath that bucket provide an easy visual layout when your team are working on tasks. But equally, when I'm working on one of my projects, I like to see it by stage and close down tasks in particular stages aligning to buckets. It's very simple to make your changes to make them work best for you. But alongside buckets, well, we need tasks. Project plan is particularly useless with no tasks. So let's consider how best to create our tasks. Well, under financials, we have this bucket here. There are no tasks that have been created for it. All we then need to do is click on add task and we can give it a task name. For example, I need to raise a purchase order to actually get this project up and running. So let's go ahead and put raise PO for our purchase order. Now you'll see it's limited on what we're actually able to input here, but don't worry, Planner does provide more capability than that. All we need to do is firstly set a due date. So I'm going to set it for the end of this week, and I need to assign it to one of our team. And because this plan has been newly created, I can only see the single person have access to it, which is currently Alex. Here, I'll go ahead and add this into Alex's tasks. Click on add task and you'll now see it says raise PO with a picture of Alex and also the date that's actually due on. What we can then do is open up this task and we'll see more information that we can now be actually input inside of our task. Now, it's important that labels should also not ever be overlooked. If we left click into labels, we'll see a number of color coded icons that you can customize. For example, I might want to be able to track a label that is everything with our finance team. So here under Aqua, I can click on the pencil icon and overtype the word Aqua, and I can actually change the word to finance team. Once I do that, we'll then see the label has been updated, left click, and we now have a label noting finance team. You can change these labels however you would like to best manage your project moving forward, provide a very clear visual indicator on particular areas and tasks that also have relevance to you. Now with that done, we can also check out other information. For example, the progress. In progress, is it completed? Well, this is going to be in progress. The priority, well, it's very important, so I'm going to mark it as an important task. Alongside that, well, the start date, I'm going to start working on that today. And should this ever repeat? Well, not really. I don't have to raise another PO, so I'm happy not to repeat this task. But if you have things like project meetings weekly, you want to mark off, we can easily mark this as weekdays and have it reoccur every single weekday or weekly, depending on your requirements. Now, in addition to that, notes can be really important. For example, as a project manager, I might be off on holiday, enjoying my time off on the beach. One of my team members comes in and sees this task to raise a PO, but has no idea what a PO means. So what we can then do is add further notes explaining who needs to have the PO raised and the reasons why. So one of my team can easily understand this task and pick it up even when I'm not around. With my notes done, asking for a purchase order of $1 million, that's all done and added into the notes. Now what we can then do is a checklist of activities. This means that a single task can have more relevance than just one that we just check off. For example, raising a PO is not a single task. No, what I would expect to do is firstly raise a purchase order. Then I would expect to complete the purchase order information, finally send it to the finance team. With my checklist done, I can now see all three of those points. and of course I can add comments below. And also at the bottom we can add suggested attachments. This is content that you've worked with inside of Microsoft 365 that could be helpful for this task. Well, there's nothing here that's very helpful for this task, so I can ignore that effectively I'm not going to attach any content into this task itself. Now when I go ahead and close this down, you'll then see visibly that our Raise a PO task now has a checklist associated to it. And the good news is, as we complete these activities, I can check them directly in the card, which syncs it in the back end. I just checked off Raise a purchase order. You can actually see here it's been checked off as one of my activities. And I can add further comments to help my team understand when that was done and what I'd done to achieve that task and why it's been ticked off the list. So your plan can go a lot further than just managing your set of tasks, because of course you're going to have to work with files inside of your plan. And in this PO task, we might need to attach the PO that I've sent on to our finance team to give actual information to the members of the team. And what's the best way we can achieve that? What we can actually do is click into Raise PO, and here we can add an attachment to this task. By clicking Add Attachment, we can browse to Files on your computer, from Microsoft Teams, or a link to a URL. That could be a SharePoint file via a sharing link, a OneDrive file much the same, or even content on the web. But I have that PO on my desktop. It's the worst place to keep it because I need to ensure the team have access to this PO. So here, let's select From Computer, and I'm going to go ahead and browse to my desktop. I'm going to go ahead and select the purchase order. Once I've done that, I'll click Open, and we'll now see the purchase order has been inserted. I can also mark it to Show on Card. That replaces the checklist but provides a visual indicator of the PO itself. That might be helpful for my team. Once I've then done that, I can go ahead and then close down the task, and we'll then see the PO is noted here. By again left clicking into this and then scrolling back down and left clicking into the purchase order, it'll open up our purchase order inside of Microsoft Word. But you're probably wondering, where on earth is this file stored? It came from my desktop, it was attached to Planner, and now it's magically available in Word, and it seems to be in a website of some type because it seems to be online. Well, that's the power of Microsoft Planner. When we create plans in this way, it actually sits in front of a Microsoft 365 group. That provides additional capability for files and email management. So let's go back into our plan and I'll show you how to visibly see where these files live. We'll close out of our task, and now we'll go into the three dot menu, and here we'll go down and select the files from the three dot menu. Now once we do that, it'll then take us into a SharePoint site. This SharePoint site has been created for us behind the scenes that powers our Microsoft Planner. The first time you access it, you can even give it a design. You can browse templates inside of SharePoint, and you can even here choose a project management type theme. So here, select project management and use template. And then, in addition to your plan, you'll have a SharePoint site using a template that provides more capabilities to manage your plan. And that doesn't interfere with your Microsoft Planner. So let's go ahead and check out that template. With that done, we now see project launch countdown, activities, and also links into our documents that you can customize using SharePoint. But that's a quick way of creating a very simple and effective SharePoint site in just a couple of minutes that you can make changes to and improve further. But of course, we're interested in our files, and under Documents, we can now see Purchase Order. If I scroll to the left-hand side and check out our Documents area here, we'll then see our Purchase Order. By left-clicking, we now see the purchase order inside of Word Online once again. And this is because the file lives inside of your SharePoint site for Project Winter that sits behind your Microsoft Planner. So it's really powerful to be able to upload other files and folders and also share them with your colleagues. But why is that? That is because the security of your plan is synced to your SharePoint site. So very easily, I could come into here and create a new folder for financial sign-off or other files on the project. And I could create sharing links and more to share them both within my team and outside of my team. And it's not limited to what I actually have inside a Planner. So your SharePoint site that sits behind Planner is the heart of where all of your documents live. And it's really powerful to be able to share content and more, and without doing that through other apps. you'll be able to do it all through the power of SharePoint and your plan. So as we're talking about files in SharePoint, let's consider our brand new learning course, because you might need additional capabilities in understanding tools like version control, sharing files with others securely who don't have access to your plan. And we go into great detail in our brand new learning course on those type of topics and cover even more. Yes, we've taken the best of all of our training content and put it into a brand new learning course, which is all around how to better master documents in SharePoint and Teams. If you'd like to come on that journey with us and master files and remove anxiety when it comes to using those tools, why not check out the link below, enroll in our course and have 24/7 access. Otherwise, let's dive back into Planner and check out more exciting capabilities. But you're probably wondering right now, well, how does that SharePoint site work? Because you had security granted to your wider team. Well, that's very simple. Inside of Planner, your security is synchronized by the group itself. As you add people to your plan, they will also have access to the shared resources. That will also give access to that SharePoint site I've just shown you, and also a shared mailbox. It's called a group inbox to be able to hold all emails that you've shared with your team. So to add further people to your plan and those additional resources is very simple. If we look at it through the lens of Microsoft Planner, well, all we need to do is go to the top right and click on the members drop down to see a list of all of our members. And here's where you add the rest of your project team. For example, Nestor, I'll add him in. He's a director of the company, has an interest in our plan. We also have been supported by Megan. By selecting Megan, we can also provide access to Megan to the plan and all the associated resources. And as simple as that, I've added 2 people to the plan and all of our content. But there's also an additional way we can do that, which can also cause you significant problems if you're not sure on how this one works. So let's go and check it out. So going back into our Raise PO task, I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And as you actually saw earlier, I only gave this task to Alex. But this time, clicking on the plus icon, I can actually give this task to either Megan or Nestor, because they also have access to our project plan. So I can add them in a single click. But instead, I need to add it into another person's task list. That will be Henrietta. So here's Henrietta here. Now in this drop down, you'll then see it mentions non-member. That is not Henrietta's job title. It's actually saying to you, this person has no access to this plan or any of the group content. And in doing so, you're going to invite them in. So here, I'm going to left click on Henrietta's name, and it will now bring up this dialog here. And it says this user isn't a member of this plan. Assigning this task will add the user to the plan and associated group membership, and it'll give access to all plan data, including files and Teams channels. Well, that's a nice summary, because that's exactly what's going to happen. By adding Henrietta to a single task, we'll give access to the whole plan, all of the tasks and all files that reside within this group, within my SharePoint site, and the emails that we may have filed, as we're going to see later, into our group mailbox. I'm going to go ahead and click Assign and Add. And now we see Henrietta is now additionally one of our task owners. But of course, I've also now granted access for Henrietta to look at all of our content in the wider plan and all of that content. Now, for any reason, if you've done that incorrectly, you can easily clean it up. All we need to do is close this dialog down, go into our members, and we can actually go next to Henrietta's name, and we can select the 3-dot menu and select Remove. As we can see, Henrietta disappears from this list of members. By reopening our task, Henrietta is still showing here, but as you can see, has no access to this task, as they have no access to the group. And therefore, we need to re-add Henrietta to give access to this task and make it visible once again. So very simple to add and remove people from your plan, but being careful, because of course they have access to much more than just a task that you're granting them. But with projects come emails. And of course, as we know, your plan can certainly work with files. We've seen that earlier in your dedicated SharePoint site, and by attaching files into it through Planner, or just adding files into your SharePoint site for your colleagues. But none of that works for emails. So how could we potentially file one of your project emails so you can actually access it in your project team that's all come from your planner? We can actually do that because we're going to use a technology that again comes from Microsoft 365 Groups that allows us to have access to a shared mailbox. It works a little differently because there are some limitations. Let's go ahead and open up Microsoft Outlook and go and check it out. So here I am inside of Outlook. We can actually see on the left hand side we have a group that's called Project Winter. If we open it up, we can actually see we've got the new Winter group is ready. We've also added a further comment on a task which has then been shared within the group mailbox from Planner itself. Now this Project Winter mailbox then allows you to go ahead and file email into it. And so that means that you and your colleagues can access this mailbox and pick up any email, review it and take action. You can do that in a variety of simple ways. For example, in my inbox, I've got a lot of email here. What I could just simply do is left click and drag an email and put it into Project Winter. I'll then sync it by opening Project Winter. We now see that that email has been synced and pushed into that shared mailbox to me and my team can access it. It's very straightforward to do. But likewise, you might want to send an email to your team or simply copy them in so it appears in your group mailbox. And how can we do that? Well, if I go ahead and click on send email, you'll see that your new mailbox comes with a dedicated email address. And inside of Project Winter, by left clicking, we can actually see it has 4 people granted access. Those are the 2 people we added inside of our plan, in addition to Henrietta, who we gave access to that task and therefore had wider access to your plan itself. By sending an email to this email address, it'll be shared with all of those individuals. They'll get access inside of your group mailbox. So next time you want to send an email and copy in your team using your group mailbox, well, go ahead and click on the CC or the To button inside of Outlook. Go to all groups and search for your project or your actual group name being Project Winter. And here is the email address. Click on plus and it will now add in that email. I could send the email to one of my colleagues such as Miriam chasing up the financial PO. And once it's sent, you'll see a copy of that email in your group mailbox that can be accessible to both you and your team. So if you're away from the office, you'll know what emails have been sent and how to pick up with them really quickly. So Who Said Planner was just all around task management. So what's one thing that we all hate to do on projects? That's chase people up when things become overdue. And it's very simple in Planner to manage tasks and how to ensure that your team can access their tasks quickly without you sending notification emails or even Teams messages. Yes, any task that we create inside a Planner is synced into Microsoft To Do. If you have your team install it on their computer or their mobile device, any of the tasks you've assigned will then appear in their to-do list. For example, we can see here, Raise PO. If I left click into it, here's the purchase order I need to get sorted that's therefore due on Friday the 5th of Jan. And what I could do is mark it, add it to my day. Now here on my day, I can very simply have access to it, see the project it relates to, and I can even check off the information that syncs directly into Microsoft Planner, meaning you as a project manager don't spend all day chasing people when it comes to managing tasks that are synced directly to their to-do list. But if your team don't want to use Microsoft To Do or simply can't install it on their computer, not to worry. Head into Microsoft Teams and then head into an app under the 3-dot menu. We're going to open the app called Tasks by Planner and To Do. And guess what? Well, it's exactly in the name. Here you'll see all of your assigned tasks across all of your different planners. And here is our Raise PO task under Assign to Me. I can again go ahead and open it and have quick access to that task without going anywhere near the planner itself inside of the web or in Teams as a separate tab. Here I can access all of my tasks, make changes and more, all inside of this direct integration with the Microsoft Teams app. So there's 2 great ways to share your tasks with your team and take all the headaches away when it comes to chasing them up. And finally, your project wouldn't be going anywhere without some management. Whilst you can create files, file email, and also consider the wider task management, you're going to need to report on project progress. And that can take a lot of time when you're not using a tool like Planner. Yes, if you're using Excel or other tools, you're going to spend a lot of time building pivot tables and charts to suit your project stakeholders. which can have ever increasing demands on your time. Well, using Planner, it's pretty simple to get those reports. What we can do is click on charts inside of your plan, and you'll now see a view of all of your available tasks inside of that plan. And we can also do things like filters. So for example, we see a view of all of the tasks. We've got 9 not started, 1 is in progress. We see the priority, the members, and so forth. Now what we can do is go on the right hand side and we can actually filter this information. For example, I'm only interested where Henrietta is working on a task. I can very visibly see that she has 1 task to do in the bucket for financials and also has a priority of importance. I could also again further filter that based upon due dates and so forth. If I remove this actual filter, I can also go to labels. Remember we created earlier our financial team label? Well, as your tasks grow with that label, we can go to finance team and review any tasks that have been allocated to our finance team using a simple color-coded label and filters in our charts. And that's how powerful it is to be able to report on all the information really quickly. We can even do things by grouping by a bucket or assigned to. For example, once again, we can look on the right-hand side at the groups who has tasks in the finance team, be Alex and Henrietta, because they're both working on that raised PO task. It's very simple to get access to all of your individual charts. But alongside that, if we go to the schedule view, well, here you'll get a view of all of that across multiple days and weeks. So that helps you understand both a calendar view, what needs to be done and when. By left clicking to any of your tasks, you have quick access to make edits to them as well. So there you go, Microsoft Planner in a way you may have never seen it before. Be able to file emails and documents and do so much more. Now, if you like this video, please hit that like button. Not forgetting, if you don't want to be part of that 88%, hit the subscribe button, allowing us to grow this channel to create even more content every single week to turn you into a productivity superstar. Otherwise, I'll be seeing you on the next one.